Hi everyone, this is Callie. Welcome back for another video using some products from the Simon Says Stamp March 2025 card kit. This card kit features the Tweet Friend stamp set. This set is adorable. There are images of some cherry blossom branches and some sweet birds singing some musical notes, a little bird bath here, and also a mailbox with a little bird and nest inside. So we'll stamp a few images to make the card. This card kit does come with a lot of other things that we'll be using later on in the process, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. To begin, I'm going to stamp a few images so that I can color with Copic markers. I'm going to stamp 2 of each of these cherry blossoms and just the sweet little bird with the nest and a bird flying. And I'll start to color those with some Copic markers here with the cherry blossoms first. Often I like to color flowers with the centers being darker. For these cherry blossoms, I'm doing the opposite and adding the darkest color on the outer edges of the petals and then moving into the center with the lighter colors. That way I can accentuate the blossoms around the outer edges and make them lighter towards the center. And this is also because these blossoms are so small, I don't want them to get lost, and so I think accentuating the outer edges makes them pop a little bit more. Then I'll move on to the foliage on these cherry blossoms. Now I'm using a soft muted green, and I'm not doing a whole lot of careful coloring here. I added some darker colors to the center veins and then just bloomed out with a medium color and then a light color around the edges. Kind of the opposite of what I did on the actual cherry blossoms. Then I'll finish up these cherry blossom branches with some browns, and I'll do that on the stems or branches of these cherry blossoms, going from dark to light in certain areas just to create a bit of contrast and movement on the branches. Then for the birds, I've colored them in a sweet blue color, and I'm intensifying with a dark color at the edges and at the top of the head and where the tail extends from the body. Then I went in and blended with a medium blue and then a final light blue. And then for the belly, I saved a little space because I wanted to give it a little peachy belly, and this just gives the bird a bit more color and it just makes it a little bit more whimsical. So I added a bit of peach to the belly and also colored their beaks with the same. Off camera, I also colored 2 more cherry blossom stems, and now I'm going to work on the background. The patterned paper from the March 2025 card kit is from the Paper Rose Flower Shop patterned paper pack. So I'm using this green pattern and placing it inside the Drifting Flowers embossing folder that also comes with this card kit. Then to add a bit more contrast, because I really wanted to add emphasis to these raised edges on this embossed image, I am using some mist ink and I'm just lightly rubbing that color on the top where these flowers, butterflies, and that large flower is on this patterned paper. Then I'll trim this panel to clean up the edges and to mat my card base, which is on an A2 size note card. So the final dimension of this panel is going to be 4 inches by 5¼ inches. And now that this background panel is prepared, I'll go ahead and set that aside so I can work on this bitty birdhouse. This is an older product and is not a part of the card kit, but this pretty metallic cardstock is, and it's craft on the other side, so it's very sturdy metallic paper. I die cut the base birdhouse using some light blue cardstock, and then I used some of that metallic cardstock on the ring around the birdhouse hole and also for the roof. Just gives this little sweet birdhouse a bit more interest and some shine. Now using that tiny little bird nest image, I'm going to clip around underneath the wings so that I can tuck the little bird and its nest inside the hole opening on that tiny birdhouse. So I'm just doing some minor snipping here, and the reason why I didn't color any brown on that nest because I didn't think it was going to show, but a little bit does show, and so off camera I added a little bit of brown right there so that there isn't any missing color, and then I'll tuck the little bird and its nest in place and adhere him from behind with some liquid adhesive. Now this new metallic silver cord is a part of this kit and is also a new item, and I'm going to use some of it to string onto the birdhouse so it can hang from the limbs of the cherry blossoms that are going to be on this card. And using some double-sided adhesive without tearing off the backing, I'm just going to adhere that string down in place on the back side. And then I'll use some thin 3D foam squares and attach these cherry blossom branches all around this card panel so that this sweet little birdhouse is nested in between a grouping of all of these branches. And I'll attach this sweet larger bird flying home as if it was coming back to its baby. And I just think that's so sweet. And finally, I'll tuck this last little branch here behind the birdhouse. Then I'll use my everyday scissors to clip off the excess from the back and the front if I need to, where it's convenient, so I don't cut off any cherry blossoms. So the card panel is done. I'm going to go ahead and add some liquid glue all across the back. Liquid glue is a great option for this because it's really going to attach those debossed areas to the card base. So I'm going to set that aside and hold it down with a paperweight and then work on my sentiment. I've prepared my black cardstock with some anti-static powder tool. Then I'll stamp with a clear embossing ink and then add some white embossing powder over my stamped sentiment. This is usually my go-to for sentiments, but since we have such a colorful background, I think the black is going to stand out really well for a sentiment. I'm going to use a coordinating die set, which is not a part of the card kit, but can be purchased separately as an add-on. So it's super handy, and this font is so cute that I think it's worth buying this die set so that you can cut out all the pretty images as well as the sentiments. Then I'll attach my sub-sentiment right on top with some liquid adhesive at the bottom of the birdhouse, and that completes my card. So you have some sweet birds on there, some pretty flowers, a really textured background, and that sweet little birdhouse. And then before we go, I want to show you the two other cards that I made using card kit contents. This card was made using some pattern paper as well as that embossing folder going in the other direction. And the images I used on this was a little bird bath. And there's also a pretty bows die set that's also adorned on there with that metal tag from Holtz idea-ology. And then this last card here uses some other images as well as another sentiment. And it also comes with a coordinating envelope that is also in the card kit. I hope you enjoyed these inspirations. Be sure to check out the Simon Says Stamp March 2025 card kit and grab a set before it sells out. If you're interested in any of the products that I use, be sure to check out the links below as well as on the coordinating blog post. Thanks so much for joining me today and have a wonderful day. Bye everyone.
I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.